I'm live. It's a sunny morning, which is beautiful. It is today, the 8th of June 2023, and I'm reading out of Winged Pharaoh, a book of far memories from Joan Grant. It was published in 1937. Joan Grant was a seer, and she wrote books about her previous lives, which are beautiful, accurate accounts of those days. This book plays, well, it must be over 11,000 years ago or something, because it was before the flood and before the Babylon, and about 5,000 years after Atlantis went down. So olden days indeed. This is the sixth part I'm reading now. She is a pharaoh co-ruling with her brother, a male-female co-rulership of Egypt in those days, in the country of Calm, the Two Lands. This is chapter 3 of part 6 of this book, and it's called Artemiodes. Artemiodes used to come to my room and try any of my unguents that were new to her. They had no malachite in Minoas, and she liked to colour her eyelids green with mine. I showed her how it must be made into a smooth paste with a drop of oil on the finger, and I promised her that as long as we had it in Calm, she should not lack of it, and that I would send her a carved palette, such as I used, on which to grind it into a powder. Her toilet took her a long time. Each of her many curls had to be twisted round a little stick, tied with thread, and then wetted with rose water before her hair was fanned dry. Her skin was very fair, almost the colour of her pearls, and every day she bathed in fresh goat's milk and rubbed her hands with sheep's cream to keep them smooth. She had a long, narrow room where she kept her dresses, each on its own wide shelf, arranged according to their colours. One that I liked especially was of yellow silk, ribboned in turquoise, and another, striped in pink and white like a tulip, was bound at the neck and hem with vivid green, and the 5 flounces of a third, which was a soft mauve of rosemary, were fringed with little pearls. Her sandals were as many-coloured as her dresses. When we were alone together, she often wore a simple tunic girdled below her breasts with coloured ribbons. She would talk of clothes as eagerly as a captain would tell his fellow of a strategy for battle, and she would describe a coupling of colours like a poet whose words and imagery of thought to a fellow song-maker, finding the same pleasure in the placing of an ornament that Totheradas finds in a smoothly worded phrase. She was surprised when she saw that each of my dresses had 4 others that were exactly like it. I told her that in Calm most of the clothes we wore had been fashioned on the same lines for more than 100 years. Though she was queen to Kiodas, she did not share his rulership, and I think she was sorry for me, because instead of having only the pleasures of a queen, I shared the responsibilities of a king. I had brought Artemiodes a lion cup, for knowing how much joy Nati gave me. I thought this would give her more pleasure than any other gift. She had seemed delighted, and she had said that he would sleep on a violet cushion beside her bed, but the paws of the gentlest cub are rough, and their little teeth sharp. He ate his violet cushion and tore the ribbons of her dresses, and she found that it is difficult for the love of clothes and a lion cub to share one's heart, as for a pigeon and a wild cat to house together. So she asked me whether I was not lonely without Natty, and whether I should not be happier with the little lion to sleep in my room while I was in Minoas. As soon as he was with me, he was very good, and when people whom he didn't know came near me, he used to try to roar at them in his little hoarse voice. I know it's bright, but never mind, this is audio. I grew so fond of him that I decided to take him home and give him to Chiquia, her daughter. So I told Artemiodes that I thought the winter of Minoas would be too cold for him, and that I would send her an embroidered linens and carved bracelets as a better token of our friendship. Each day was blossom on the tree of time. The cares of rulership became remote, and we had but to think of our own pleasures to delight our hosts. We spent 5 halcyon days in a little summer palace by the sea alone with Kiodas and Artemiodes. We wore such simple tunics as the fisher people wear and cooked our food over the glowing ashes of a driftwood fire. On rocky beaches where the sea whispered to the moon were little pools with living flowers that folded like feathery petals at a touch, and scarlet seaweed like a sea nymph's hair, and yellow crabs that scuttled sideways to a sheltering rock. Nea used to coil our fishing lines around his waist, and he and I would swim out to a rock that rose sheer from the deep water. Here we flung our weighted hooks until we felt a strong fish fighting on the line. Once I caught a little octopus. Its tentacles were like a nest of snakes, and evil looking at me out of its eyes until Nea killed it with his hunting knife. Stringing the fish we had caught through the gills, Nea carried them slung over his shoulder as we swam back to the shore. Then I would lie basking in the warmth, while the sun burnished my skin, which glittered with the salt crystals of the sea. Not till the dusk had fallen did we wear clothes, for here even the sun at noonday was not too impetuous. I grew to be very fond of Artemiodes, but I never knew her heart or understood her way of thought. She loved to hear of the housings of my life, but she did not ask me of my thoughts or wish to talk of things away from earth. She liked to hear about what our people ate, how long they worked, and how they amused themselves. But when I would have told her what they were taught, I saw that she listened, but from courtesy. And when I tried to find out what she believed, she would tell me of some new dish that her cooks had made, or some new whim she had thought of to please Kyodas. Sometimes she talked of him as if she were his favorite dancing girl, telling me how, even if his fleet were overdue, she would drive thoughts of kinship from his mind and keep him within the close circle of an embrace. Sometimes she talked of him as if he were a beautiful youth who had still to assail her virginity, and sometimes as if he were an indulgent mother talking proudly of a wilful child. Her love for her husband seemed to change with her every mood. Perhaps it was because in Minoas they are not taught to know thyself, and have not yet learned that the enduring strength of love is to know the measure that the other has of good and evil, wisdom and foolishness, and, knowing it in stark simplicity, still to want to make the long journey by his side. One night, sleeping in curtained litters, we were carried up one of the great mountains that crowned their land. For the first time I held snow between my hands and saw my fingers moulded with their warmth. The gleaming white of pearl I knew, the warm white of new-cut ivory, the foaming whiteness of a breaking wave, and daisy petals brilliant in the sun. But now in my hands I cupped the heart of whiteness, the essence of all colour transmuted into purity. The eastern sky hung out its banners of the day, and the morning breeze quenched the stars' flickering lamps. The land below us was still sleeping beneath the mist, but we, on a white island above the clouds, saw the cold brilliance about our feet turn to a throne of coral for the gods. The horizon, mighty as the wheel of time, encircled us, and sleeping earth stirred to the sound of Ra's chariot, as to the coloured music of the dawn he returned to greet his subjects on a new day. Well, this was chapter 3. The next one is chapter 4.